Imagine your cousin was just beheaded by the king, and a few years later, that same man asks you to marry him. Terrifying, right? But for the Howard family, it was the chance of a lifetime. I'm Eva Carter, and today we're diving into the story of Henry VIII's fifth wife, Catherine Howard. If you love uncovering the mysteries of history with me, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button right now. It really helps me make more videos like this. Henry VIII was the most talked about monarch of the age of absolutism, a time when his word was law. He married 6 times, and his 5th choice was the young Catherine. By a tragic twist of fate, she was a close relative of Anne Boleyn, whom the king had ordered to be executed in 1536. This young soul lived a very short life, passing away somewhere between 16 and 23 years old. Sadly, she shared the exact same fate as her cousin. Catherine lasted only 18 months as his wife. When they married, she was between 15 and 20, while the king was already 49. In the 16th century, that was considered old age. But before we see how she ended up at court, let's look at the man she actually married. Trust me, the version you see in popular movies is a far cry from the harsh reality of that time. Henry weighed as much as a small car, and his daily menu would give a modern nutritionist a heart attack. How did a romantic lover and a brutal tyrant coexist in that body? In reality, the English king struggled with massive weight gain, exceeding 100 kilograms. Surviving armor from that time clearly shows his enormous size. He started gaining weight rapidly after the loss of his 3rd wife, Jane Seymour, who gave him his long-awaited heir. On top of that, he had a terrifying weeping ulcer on one of his legs, the result of a jousting accident that turned a once athletic man into a sick old man. Despite his doctor's advice, Henry refused to change his lifestyle. His diet consisted of massive amounts of red meat and fancy desserts, while he almost completely ignored vegetables. Along with his physical issues, the king had an extremely difficult and unpredictable temper. This was the man the young Catherine Howard was destined to meet. She was never officially crowned. She was queen in name only, because the king's advisors wanted her to prove she could provide a new prince first. But how did a young girl from a poor branch of a noble family even catch the eye of this terrifying ruler? The secret lies with her father, Edmund Howard, a man whose life was full of failure and questionable choices. Her father was an aristocrat by blood, but a failure in life. In a world where men held all the power, he couldn't even handle his own debts. He ended up using his children as pawns for his more influential relatives. Despite his famous name, Edmund Howard was plagued by financial disaster his entire life. His first wife had 5 children from a previous marriage, and together they had 6 more, including Catherine herself. With 11 children to raise, no one bothered to record their exact birth dates, as there weren't many prospects for this poor branch of the family. After her mother passed away when Catherine was about 10, her father married 2 more times, but never found stability. Edmund was described as a man without will or ambition, and his career at court was a constant failure. While his brothers held high positions in the government, he lost his lands and eventually fled the country to escape his creditors. In the 16th century, men were expected to show bravery in battle or skill in leadership, but Edmund failed at everything, basically abandoning his children. Left without parents, Catherine was sent to live with her powerful relative, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. At the time, this was common for families who couldn't afford to raise their children. It was there, in the Duchess's massive estate, where female influence was strong that her downfall began. In this environment, where no one was really watching, young Howard faced her first temptations. While the Duchess was busy with court business, things were happening in her manor that were far from innocent. Catherine quickly realized that if you really want something and you have a key to the back door, anything is possible. Being a widow in the 16th century offered noble women incredible freedom. Agnes Howard was a powerful widow who controlled a fortune and spent a lot of time in London. Her homes were full of dozens of teenagers from noble but struggling families, and they were often left to their own devices.
Екатерина росла в мире, где за поведением молодежи следили лишь формально. Подростки, достигая переходного возраста, начинали проявлять неподдельный интерес к запретным темам. Согласно историческим сведениям, девушка сумела договориться со служанкой, чтобы раздобыть ключ от женской половины дома. Обычно этот предмет хранился прямо в спальне герцогини, но отсутствие строгого надзора позволяло тайно открывать двери для избранных юношей под покровом ночи.
In these rooms, they held secret gatherings with wine and treats. Witnesses from that time remembered how young men would sneak into the girls' quarters, breaking all the social rules of the era. For Catherine, this was a lesson in secrecy. She had to play the role of a virtuous lady in front of her guardian. However, among her many acquaintances, 2 names would eventually show up in her interrogation files. The first was a strange music teacher who taught her lessons that went far beyond basic music theory.
Sie nannte ihn in Briefen, die sie unvorsichtigerweise nicht vernichtete, ihren Ehemann. Sie dachte, es sei nur ein Spiel oder die große Liebe ihres Lebens, die für immer innerhalb der Mauern des Anwesens verborgen bleiben würde. Sie ahnte nicht, dass sie für jedes Wort in diesen Zeilen später den höchsten Preis zahlen müsste. Die erste ernsthafte Leidenschaft der jungen Katharina galt ihrem Musiklehrer Henry Manox. Historiker streiten bis heute darüber, ob diese Beziehung auf Gegenseitigkeit beruhte oder ob ein erwachsener Mann einfach die Unerfahrenheit eines 13-jährigen Mädchens ausnutzte. Manox erlaubte sich eine ungebührliche Nähe, die damals als Gipfel der Ehrlosigkeit für eine junge Dame galt.
Soon, he was replaced by the Duchess's assistant, Frances Dereham. This relationship went much further than just a crush. The young couple openly exchanged vows and referred to each other as husband and wife in their letters. In the Tudor era, such promises were often seen as a legal marriage, even without a church ceremony. Their secret meetings continued until a jealous Manox told the Duchess what was happening. A huge scandal broke out. When Agnes Howard found a stranger in her granddaughter's room, she was furious. She was terrified that these actions would ruin Catherine's chances of a good future and destroy her reputation. To end the relationship for good, Dereham was quickly sent away, and Catherine's fate was about to take a sharp turn. Her influential uncle found her a place at the king's court. She was heading toward the greatest and most dangerous opportunity of her life, becoming a lady-in-waiting for the king's 4th wife. This was the start of a new chapter where young Howard became a tool in her family's high-stakes political game. She arrived at court as an innocent girl from the countryside, dreaming of beautiful dresses, with no idea she was being used as bait for England's most dangerous predator. The trap was set. Henry was in love, and Anne of Cleves was cast aside. Thanks to her powerful uncle, Thomas Howard, Catherine found herself at the very center of palace intrigue. The aging king, suffering from his physical pain, saw this lively girl as a source of regained youth. Catherine was full of energy. She loved dancing and music, which was a sharp contrast to his previous, more serious marriages. Henry showered his new favorite with jewels and attention, truly believing he had found his rose without a thorn. For the Howard family, it was a total triumph. Their girl was beside the throne, restoring the family's glory. Catherine, thrilled by her sudden success, enjoyed her new status. But beneath the glamour, there was a serious threat. She didn't realize that every move she made at Hampton Court was now being watched, not just by her adoring husband, but by many enemies who wanted to see her fall. This was the beginning of the end. Catherine Howard became queen, unaware that her past was already following her through the halls. What happened when Catherine's old flames decided to remind the new queen of their existence? We'll find out in part 2 of this gripping story. For now, don't forget to subscribe and check out these 2 videos on the screen. They have even more incredible stories about people who changed the world. I'm Eva Carter. See you next time.